Sean Spicer is the communications director for the Republican National Committee and a senior advisor there. Sean, this is the campaign kickoff for Donald Trump, and he said in it, this was very key to what he said. He said, America is in decline. Let's listen.
This is going to be an election that's based on competence, because people are tired of these nice people, and they're tired of being ripped off by everybody in the world, and they're tired of spending more money on education than any nation in the world per capita, than any nation in the world. And we're 26th in the world. 25 countries are better than us at education. And some of them are like third world countries. But we're becoming a third world country.
What's your reaction to that sort of thesis of his argument for getting in the race, and just to his announcement in general?
Well, I think, number one, we have a historic crop of candidates seeking the Republican nomination. The number of quality candidates that is seeking our nomination, I think, is frankly historic. It is going to give each of the voters throughout the country an opportunity to decide what direction they want to go in, which vision they think is best. But I think we're definitely giving the voters throughout the country an opportunity to look at several different ways that we can go, and it's not going to be without choices when it comes to our nominations.
Okay, so I know technically you're not supposed to play favorites here. That's just part of the deal when you work for one of the party committees. But I want to ask you about something that we heard Donald Trump say, especially in light of the fact that a lot of Republicans say, hey, this party needs to broaden its appeal to Hispanic and other minority voters. This is what he said.
When Mexico sends its people, they're not sending their best. They're not sending you. They're not sending you. They're sending people that have lots of problems, and they're bringing those problems with us. They're bringing drugs. They're bringing crime. They're rapists. And some, I assume, are good people. But I speak to border guards, and they tell us what we're getting. And it only makes common sense. It only makes common sense.
Now, there are a lot of Hispanic voters who will not be happy, Sean, with Donald Trump saying something like that. And let me read from the GOP post-mortem, the autopsy. It says, among the steps Republicans take in the Hispanic community and beyond, we must embrace and champion comprehensive immigration reform. And it talks about inclusivity. So how does that need square with the kind of rhetoric that you hear Donald Trump using?
Well, I mean, as far as painting Mexican Americans with that kind of a brush, I think that's probably something that is not helpful to the cause. But I think to the issue of illegal immigration, Mr. Trump and others have addressed that we need to be very firm on border security and look at ways to make sure that America fixes its broken immigration problem and finds a way to allow for people from, whether it's Mexico, Canada, Europe, or wherever, to enter this country in a more systematic and helpful way to our overall economy.
Okay, I want to ask you about Jeb Bush now. In his campaign announcement yesterday, he touted his experience as governor. He seemed to really take a swipe at his rivals like Senator Marco Rubio, who don't have that experience. Let's listen.
As our whole nation has learned since 2008, executive experience is another term for preparation, and there is no substitute for. We're not going to clean up the mess in Washington by electing the people who either helped create it or have proven incapable of fixing it.
He is taking aim at establishment Washington. That's many of the candidates on his side, in addition to Hillary Clinton. Do you think that helps him break out of the pack? A lot of people are surprised he hasn't yet.
Well, I think, look, as you mentioned at the top of the show, Mr. Trump becomes the 12th candidate seeking the Republican nomination officially. I think there's several more that are going to get in, governors, senators, other business people. I think at the end of the day, each one of them is going to try to figure out a message that they think resonates and a vision that they want to articulate that will move the country forward. But each of them is going to play to their strengths and talk about why their experience, their vision is the best. And so I think in the case of Governor Bush, that's playing off his years as being a successful governor. I think, Senator Rubio show. Senator Paul, Senator Cruz, and others are going to talk about some of their problem-solving solutions that they've found here in Washington. I don't think bashing Washington is a bad strategy, whether you're a United States senator or a business person or a neurosurgeon or a governor. I don't think there's anybody running for president or just sitting at home that's pleased with some of the things that are going in Washington. One thing that all of these candidates are talking about is trying to find a pathway forward to some of the problems that this country faces and to make America an even better country than it is today.
All right, real quick, in like just a couple words, are you worried there are so many Republican candidates?
No, I'm glad. The more candidates, the better. They're bringing new people into this party. They're out there campaigning in places that we don't go, talking to additional voters. This is a very, very healthy thing for this party. I'm glad, and I hope more people get into it.
All right, Sean Spicer with the RNC. Thanks so much for being with us. And